Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Das ist alles,
Stanley
was ich dazu
decided
zu
to go
sagen
to the
habe.
meeting
Okay.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New Content. Alter, es ist so offensichtlich. Weißt du, das ist schon geil, ne? Das ist schon echt. Oh mein Gott, ich suche die ganze Zeit. Die ganze Zeit suche ich nach neuem Content. Und diese Tür wäre wahrscheinlich von Anfang an da gewesen, wenn ich gesagt habe, ja, habe ich schon mal gespielt. Okay, man muss also das Spiel wahrscheinlich so 2 Stunden spielen, dann ist die Tür da. Trotzdem frage ich mich, ob die alten Spiele, ob die noch da sind. Irgendwie. Okay, wartet kurz. Ich gehe gleich rein in die Tür. Ich muss nur gucken. Okay. Es hat mich nur ein Server gepinkt, nämlich. Ich wollte wissen, warum. Okay. Okay. Wir machen noch ein bisschen New Content. Eigentlich wollte ich gleich aufhören, weil 23 Uhr ist, aber ich mache jetzt noch so eine Viertel bis halbe Stunde.
Oh, new content?
Ja.
What does that mean, new content?
Kann ich die Tür nicht zumachen? Ich würde gern da rein, aber es geht nicht. Das ist Absicht anscheinend. Alter, ist das nicht die Todesstraße?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Was ist, wenn wir hier jetzt stehen bleiben? Geht das irgendwann wieder zu? Weil da geht die Schiene ja weiter. Aber vielleicht sollte ich gar nicht alles so überdenken. Vor allem jetzt am Anfang. Das kann ich nachher alles auch noch machen. Also gehe ich jetzt einfach mal raus.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Ja, wenn wir die Adventure Line wiedersehen.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, here we go.
Okay.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Give me the content, Stanley. Bitte was? New
All
content.
right.
Jump
All
Circle.
right, let's see. It's
Moment,
the jump circle.
Können wir springen? Ich kann springen! Oh mein Gott. Aber nur im Kreis. Oh mein Gott, das ist der beste Kreis im Spiel. Geil! Oh mein Gott, sie sind draufgekommen, wie sie Sprünge programmieren. Oh no. Scheiße, ich kann nicht mehr springen.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Alter, er hat völlig recht. Man kann auch einfach eine Stimme haben, die bis 30 Billionen zählt und ja. Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Okay. Das war's. Das war der neue... Oh, no. Das war noch nicht alles. Das war der...
Psst! Stanley!
Ja?
Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Was hast du gefunden? Hätte auch anders weitergehen können, oder?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Boah, jetzt bin ich gespannt. Was ist das Geheimnis? Was hast du für ein Geheimnis? Wow. Holy. Jesus.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Memory Zone. Alter, ich brauche sowas für mich auch. Das ist jetzt einfach das neue Museum.
You see, Stanley,
Don't
doesn't the
forget.
Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was
So
before
sweet.
it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Oh, die Awards. Einfach drüber geklebt. Was the British Academy of Film and Television Arts will do. Was steht da? Last of Us. Alter, das ist genial. Oh, First Kiss. My first car. The release of Stanley Parable in 2013. Oh. Der Original Remake. Alter. Buy on Steam. Good times. Smile because it happened. A trip down a memory lane. Alter, ich habe genau denselben Bilderrahmen auch mit $1 bei mir. Der erste Dollar, den sie mit dem Spiel verdient haben. Stanley Parable Demonstration. Cards I don't play for 5 years. Achievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. Da haben sie immer geändert, wie man das Achievement kriegt. Deswegen konnte man es kaum kriegen. British Academy Award. Stanley Parable Game Innovation. Nominee. Debut Game. Nominee British Academy Story. New video game releasing today. In der New York Times, ja klar. Los Angeles Times, Stanley Parable deals tough choices. Hey, das haben wir gerade gespielt. Loving Memory, Little Stanley. Was? Oh. Ich glaube, da hat wirklich jemand sein Haustier verloren, das er Little Stanley genannt hat. Das hat er da in Erinnerung. Wir können uns da nicht hinsetzen. Okay.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, c'est sur l'abri des loups, et je n'attends plus que toi.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
New Elevator Content. Es ist Skyrim, es ist Persona 3. Es ist sie alle. Alle Spiele. Oh. Da ist das Spiel, das ich vorhin vermisst habe. Wo ist das hin? Wo ist eigentlich Portal hin? Warum haben wir jetzt Rocket League stattdessen? Adventure Line. Der Original. Maintenance Zone? Okay, geht nicht auf. Ich wollte es nur checken. Ich glaube nicht, dass wir hier irgendwo Branching Paths haben, so im Memory Person of the Year. Boah, geil. Original. Da haben wir die 2 Türen. Was? The greatest wealth is memory. And is never the end, is never the end, is never. For Scott K. The Stanley Parable. Mit Krawatte gab's das sogar, geil. Ein Smiley. Your number is 29.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Und sie haben es einfach wieder ausgepackt. Mussten 9 Content machen. Literally anything. people play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good and letting them know they can't do anything. Let anything. Alter, warum ist denn die Tür auch aufgegangen? Da kann ich doch gar nicht durch. Das ist fies. Warum ist hier zu? Gut, da muss ich halt wieder zurück.
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Code Drinks. Was? Steam? Reviews? Was ist das?
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor.
Steam
I
reviews?
haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh no. Oh no, es sind die Steam Reviews. Scheiße, Mann. No. Not recommended. Oh mein Gott. I'm recommended.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Alter, es sind so viele Steam Reviews.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
Alter,
I feel
dir nicht zu nahe kommen.
like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh no, da ist noch eins. Ich will ihn nicht so hart kränken, Mann.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Ein Skip-Button? Oh mein Gott. Die ganzen Jahre über. Und wir haben nun einen
And here it
Skip-Button.
is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue. And it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is. So on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is. So on and so forth, until...
Skip.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once, that you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations.
Ich meine, ich verstehe schon, das soll jetzt
Here
auch
we
wieder
go.
so ein Text sein, dass man es gibt und dann
Treatise,
wird
manifesto, treatise, manifesto, treatise, manifesto,
Oh Gott.
treatise, manifesto,
Oh Gott, no.
treatise, manifesto,
Oh.
treatise, manifesto.
Er wird jetzt sicher beleidigt sein, wenn wir skippen, oder?
Manifesto.
Okay, komm.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say
Cookie
about this,
9.
and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful.
Ich bin immer so neugierig, wie sich das dann wiederholt, dass man irgendwie...
From the ashes of depravity. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Boah, scheiße.
It's not unendurable by any means, but there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go?
Oh shit,
Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
Skip!
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Alter, 12
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here.
Ich wollte nur gucken, ob
and
der
more than
Neustart
anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so
beachtet.
much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are.
Frag mich, ob das
What
ein
would it
echter
ever
User
really
ist oder
matter?
einfach
But
ein
here I
Entwickler.
am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety, that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, 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 I know you too well. You'll be leaving me. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my
Okay,
head.
wiederholt sich.
Oh, Stanley, you're back.
War die
You're
Pflanze.
back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting
Und
here
dieses
all that
bedrohliche,
time,
wie wieder
just sitting
rauskommt, der
here,
Knopf.
not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley, not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction.
Boah, Alter,
I feel
die
as though I
Uhrzeit
occupy
ist
space
echt,
in this
boah.
world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it, to think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
Okay, und dann sagt er nichts mehr. Skip! Das ist kein Licht im Meer.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after
Die
a
Uhr hat
year.
aufgehört.
Have you ever sat down
Alt
in one
nach
place
einem
and
Jahr.
not moved for one entire year? Let me
Jesus.
describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible, the spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Alter, ich hätte hier früher hinkommen können, weil um die Zeit ist dieses philosophische Ding, das macht meinen Kopf gerade zu Brei. Alter, ist er tot? Wenigstens haben wir einen Brandmelder. Well, that's not good. Gut, dass ich den gerade noch irgendwie... Die Uhr ist runtergefallen. Entschuldigung, warte. Das ist ein bisschen laut, glaube ich. Gut, dass ich den gerade vorhin noch bemerkt habe und jetzt piepst der, Alter. Schnell weg. Hat's hier mal gebrannt? Das sieht nicht nach Brand aus. Weiter.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes.
Ja, natürlich.
They've been jealous of me this
Nach
whole
wie vielen
time.
Jahren kommst du
They
da
are
drauf?
mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves, they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, enter.
Irgendwas tropft da. Ich finde das so geil, wie er da mittendrin leise ist und plötzlich nach Jahren irgendwann fängt er wieder an zu schimpfen über die Reviews.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Oh shit, es tropft immer mehr. Sind wir jetzt bald unter Wasser? Oh shit, was ist denn hier passiert? Jesus. Hopp. Licht! Ja, da gab es einen Rohrbruch, wie es aussieht, und irgendwann hat sich da alles zersetzt. Durch das Wasser. Das Wasser ist schon eine Weltmacht. Alter, Wasser ist so powerful. Plötzlich haben wir irgendwo in der Ferne wieder eine Musik. Ist der Erzähler noch da oder ist er jetzt endlich, also endlich so, als würde ich es wollen, aber ist er gestorben? What the fuck? Sind wir wieder zurückgegangen? Das sah doch schon schön aus. Ist der Brandmelder noch da? Ja, aber er geht nicht mehr. Uhr noch? Die ist irgendwo da drunter verborgen. Okay. Können wir es wieder schön haben? Alter, wo sind wir? What the fuck? Was ist passiert? Jesus. Oh no! Der Skip-Button ist kaputt. Wir können nicht mehr skippen, aber wir haben den Ausweg. Wo sind wir? Jesus. Wir wollten doch kein Open-World-Spiel. Und wie viel schneller wir hier sein hätten können, wenn wir einfach früher geskippt hätten. Das irgendwann aus. Das war's jetzt. Das war das. Okay. Soll ich noch eine Runde drehen, aber ich habe Angst, dass das dann ewig wird. Warte mal, ich gehe mal
All of his co-workers were
vielleicht
gone.
gleich ab.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ich will nur wissen, ob die New Content Tür da ist, nämlich. Oh ja. New Content. Okay, das machen wir das nächste Mal. Das machen wir das nächste Mal weiter. Weil ich bin jetzt müde. Vielleicht morgen, wenn ich Zeit habe. Weiß ich noch nicht. Aber ich lasse es. Für heute lasse ich es mal. Für heute reicht's mal. So. Gut. Dann. Ich meine, ich glaube, für unter die Woche ist bis nach 11 Stream ein bisschen spät. Aber ja, trotzdem, bei allen, die zugesehen haben, danke. Und für alle, die vielleicht hier noch ins VOD gucken, weil sie was verpasst haben oder nachgucken wollen, danke fürs nochmal reinschauen. Aber ich gehe jetzt mal ins Bettchen oder so. Also, das nächste Mal machen wir den New Content. Bis dahin. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.